Welcome. We would like to present today the most important information about stewardship as an innovation and creativity tool in the online environment of Polish public benefit organization. This presentation explores the degree of innovativeness measured by the level of application of the stewardship concept in Polish public benefit organizations, as well as the dependence between specific features of these organizations and the intensity of the stewardship concept application. Considering the fact that modern technologies and innovative digital means of communication with stakeholders are playing an increasingly important role in the era of networked societies, this progress can be much more dynamic, but the knowledge and creativity of managers is needed in such organizations. As societies move into cyberspace, the exponential growth of the digital economy and social media is enabling business innovations in both types of organization, for-profit and non-for-profit. Interestingly, one of the most effective strategies used to cultivate relationships with the public has remained on the sidelines of mainstream research. This is the stewardship concept developed by Kelly at the end of the 20th century. The use of the concept of stewardship in non-profit organizations, taking as a point of view modern information technologies, is an innovative solution not only in Polish public benefit organizations. Nevertheless, due to specific conditions and the need to operate on a competitive 1% market, it means possibility of transferring 1% of income tax to the specific organization. So they are intriguing example. Innovativeness and creativity should result in specific results, among them are tangible effects in the form of increased revenues and profits. In our research, we use two basic terms. One is public benefit organizations, and second, stewardship concept. Public benefit organization are unique and dynamically developing element of the so-called third sector. Public benefit organization PBO does not mean a legal form of business activity, but only certain privileges connected with it. The most important of these is the one regarding the possibility of receiving 1% income tax from individuals. It means that individuals have the option of transferring 1% of their annual income tax to the specific public benefit organization it indicates. This created a specific market that can be described as the 1% market, mentioned in a previous slide. And the second term, stewardship, stewardship in general is defined as gestures of supported organization that reciprocate the deeds of individuals carrying out a selfless good to others. Stewardship creates an essential feedback loop from the organization to the public that reinforces positive behavior and ensures that the public relations process is continuous. The use of the stewardship concept can be particularly useful in the online environment of a non-profit organization. Stewardship is a kind of leadership behavior that shows great concern for the impact of the non-profit organization's activity on society. The Internet as an innovative form of communication is a perfect addition to the traditional methods of building relationships with the organization's stakeholders. Therefore, the innovative use of the Internet in establishing relationships with users becomes a kind of opportunity equalizer of an organization regardless of its size. So here we have connection between level of stewardship use, yes, connected with innovativeness and creativity. It is connected with outcomes, yes, understood here as revenues, and revenues measured by total revenue or 1% income tax revenue, which is one of the very important or sometimes even the most important source of revenues of public benefit organization. So in our research we set two research hypotheses. The first hypothesis is that a feature of the Polish Public Benefit Organization website is low innovativeness perceived by a low level of stewardship concept utilization. And hypothesis number two is that the level of innovation measured by the employment rate of the stewardship concept differs across various types of public benefit organizations' activities. Non-profit organizations, which had the status of a public benefit organization, was selected from a special 2018 database. The next stage of the research process focused on identifying organizations that had their own website and collected donations from it. The selection of only such organizations for research was deliberate. First of all, the application of the stewardship concept in the online environment was investigated, so the organization had to use the website as a research site. Second, the organization's website had to allow an online donation. Organizations that provide this option should especially take into account the concept of stewardship when designing a website. Allowing cash to be deposited into statutory goals that are implemented by the organization means that the use of the stewardship concept should be particularly important to them in the relationship management process. Its comprehensive use in the design of a website could be important for donors making decisions to transfer funds to a specific organization. To determine whether a particular public benefit organization had its own website, the information contained in the technical report or from the Google.pl search engine was used. The analysis was then made as to whether the website of a particular organization allowed a donation to be made online, and 543 websites of public benefit organizations meeting both of these conditions were identified. This population consisted of 50 large organizations. It means more than $2.5 million total annual revenue. Next, 55 medium organizations. It means $1 million to less than $2.5 million total annual revenue. Next, 65 small organizations. So from $500,000 to less than $1 million. And 373 micro-organizations, so it means below $500,000. And next, random samples were chosen from each layer to ensure the representativeness of each generic group of the organization and the size of the minimum sample for the finite population. Yes, at a confidence level of 0.95 and a maximum error of 0.05. In such layers was 337 entities, and in group 1, so large organization, it's 44, second group medium, 48 organization, group 3, 56 organization, group 4, 189 organizations. The public benefit organization selection from all layers was made using the research randomizer algorithm. It is a tool designed for generating sets of random numbers. A research questionnaire based on the Pressgrove consisting of 34 questions was used, where responses were coded as follows. The presence of a particular element was coded as 1 and its absence as a 0. The number of features for the analyzed for stewardship dimension was varied and ranged from 4 for reporting and recognition reciprocity to 12 for responsibility and 14 for relationship nurturing, and it's elements of stewardship concept. Yes. Here we have statistical data. The research results indicate that the concept of stewardship in the environment of the Polish Public Benefit Organization website was at most moderate. It can thus be concluded that these websites are characterized by low levels of innovation. This applies to all 4 dimensions of the stewardship concept. In the case of responsibility, 54.9 of the elements building this dimension were absent in Polish public benefit organization websites. For reporting, the average absence of all the elements was 52.5%. The next was the recognition, reciprocity dimension. In this case, the average absence of elements was 51.2. The last analyzed dimension, relationship nurturing, was characterized by an average lack of 59.8 of the elements. In summary, the total average for all dimensions reached a level of 56.2 of the lack of components, identifying the use of the stewardship concept. Therefore, according to the fact, it means more than 50% elements of the stewardship concept were not used in the Polish public benefit organization online environment. So the first hypothesis has been supported. The results have shown that public benefit organizations with higher annual amounts of revenue have websites with a higher number of stewardship concept features than organizations with lower revenues. It applied to all dimensions of the stewardship concept. Similar results were obtained for revenue from 1% of personal income tax and the number of employees. According to the Polish Legal Act of April 24, 2003 on public benefit and volunteer work, all non-profit organizational activity has been divided into 33 separated areas of public task. However, only 24 areas of public tasks are listed in Table 2. In the analyzed research sample, none of the organizations perform any of the remaining 9 tasks listed in the Act. And despite the existence of some differences in the average for the application of the concept of stewardship, one cannot confirm the hypothesis that the employment rate of the stewardship concept differs across various types of public benefit organization activities. The differences between the 33 types of activities were not large from a statistical point of view. Thus, no relationship can be demonstrated between the type of activity and the level of innovation of the organization, so hypothesis 2 should be rejected. So, summarizing, the findings of this study has allowed to support the 5 hypotheses. So, a feature of the Polish Public Benefit Organization website is low innovativeness perceived by a low level of stewardship concept utilization, and reject the second hypothesis. So, there is no relationship between the type of activity and the level of innovation of the organization. The findings of this study have also several important theoretical and practical implications, linking the use of stewardship concept in an online environment with the innovation of non-profit organization and by economic performance is a gap in current research. Positive correlations between the size of the organization have suggested that the view that the internet is an equalizer of opportunities for smaller organizations is not true. Based on the results of the research, it can be concluded that managers of small non-profit organizations underestimate the importance of online communication tools in relationship management. It seems that the main barrier lies in the human factor and its mentality. Therefore, a change in approach to the use of modern communication solution is required. Thank you for attention.